has been hit.
All my food. Oh, that's all right. I got this pasta salad that they made me, so I'm on that right now. But that pasta with kale was better. Jesus. Okay.
Okay, let me know when you see
See it.
I see it.
Bomb.
Okay.
All right. And we are going to cue music. Thanks. Hey, what's up, y'all? This is your girl Dizzy, and welcome back to another episode of What You Got to Say. So we got my crazy co-host in the building. What's up, Mr. Tyrone Greggory?
Hey, y'all already know what time it is. Gang, gang.
All right. What's up, Miss Cool Candice? How are you?
Up, y'all. It's time to chop it up.
And what's up, Miss Kela Mahogany?
Hey, y'all.
And last but not least, what's up, Mr. Cabana Blaq?
Hey, y'all, I'm that dude.
So as you guys can tell, we have a special guest in the building. We have Mr. Prophet. We just gonna call him Prophet, as in dollars. What's up, Mr. Prophet? How you doing? And tell our viewers a little bit about yourself.
I'm good. I don't have one of the cool intro like y'all do, so I'll just say, how y'all doing? I am a chef and a certified dietary manager.
Okay. All right. And how long you been doing this? Hello?
I think you heard an echo.
Froze.
Somebody said, oh, his thing froze. Okay.
Froze.
I know somebody's already recognizing that hair. Come on.
So this is a shameless Kela Mahogany.
And you will see it again.
Kela Mahogany in the building. All right, you there, Prophet? You good now? You had froze for a second.
Okay. I can hear y'all, but I can't see the video. Yeah, it's telling me my internet is unstable.
We are all a little bit unstable.
Right. I'm like, why is this a relationship?
Internet, come correct now. Come back. Come back to it
now. I got y'all.
A little bit unsafe.
Exactly. All right, so go ahead, Prophet, again. Just give a little bit about yourself. We got that you were a chef, and then we didn't hear anything else. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I am a diet tech in clinical dietetics nutrition, and I have a certified dietary manager, certified food protection professional credential as well.
All right, cool.
I've been in food service professionally for 2 decades, and in nutrition since 2007.
Nice. So that means we're not bringing you no BS. We bringing it to you for real. Somebody who knows what they talking about. All right. So this show subject was actually brought to us by Mr. Cabana Blaq, because he is on a fitness journey for the past year, and he wanted to talk about water, foods, and moods. So basically finding out how much water we're supposed to drink, and what's real news that's coming out to us about nutrition and diets and fad diets and all of these things. So we decided to get somebody who could actually answer some of our questions about these things. And by all means, if you guys have myths that you want debunked, information that you want, something that you heard that you may not think is accurate, and you want to kind of bounce it off the subject matter expert, Mr. Prophet, today, then you're more than welcome to ask him these questions. So Cabana, I'm gonna pass the torch over to you and allow you to do your thing.
And shout out Lance. I like nuts too. Come on. All right. Lance is already up here starting, so I love it.
So we starting it off like this.
Because that's how Lance do. He got us started. So yeah. First of all, thank you so much. I'm super excited, and I'm definitely did some research, and I really want to ask some questions that respect you, and hopefully will help people that are what I call the laymen and the ones that are enthusiasts, because I really want to talk to people that really are like the ones that don't work out and may not want to do it. And then also the homes of the people that cannot afford, because a lot of times I know that with nutrition, health is expensive. Whether people want to believe it or not, there's a price tag to it. And so I want to be able to help both sides. The first question that I have for you right off the bat is, what is the stereotypes that need to be broken about health and food, as far as like what we think is good and is not so good, and that they put out there as good for us? And I do know that culturally, we're all different. So our bodies are going to take things differently. But I think there's some stereotypes that need to be broken in nutrition as far as food is concerned, and you can answer that first question.
Okay, that's actually a good way to start. The most basic, plain nutrition advice I could ever give anyone is to consider what it is that you are consuming and how far it has come from its naturally occurring existence, right? So that means, like, if you're going to eat a potato chip, sure, we think, oh, it's a potato, right? But look on the ingredient list on that package and see what else is added to give it that final product. Because most potatoes, when you cook it, you can't make your potato chips like the potato chips you buy in a store at home, right? And that's because manufacturers will fry it maybe twice, or maybe there's some sort of ingredient or product added to the potato chips to help it maintain its texture, to help it maintain freshness, shelf stable. So read the ingredient list, because they put a lot of things to catch your eye on the label, like, oh, gluten-free or fat-free or sugar-free. And usually when you see one, it means that the other is there. When you see fat-free, that usually means it's got a lot of sugar, right? Or sometimes on certain things, like, I find this like fascinating, that on things like candy, they'll be like, oh, gluten-free. It's like, duh, it's like literally 100% sugar, right? So I would say just read the ingredient list. And if you can't recognize those ingredients, then whatever the label is saying about, oh, it's 100 calories, it's this, it's that, it's heart healthy. If it doesn't make sense to you on that long list of ingredients, then that's probably something you want to do a little bit more research into to figure out if it's something that you want to continue consuming, or if it's going to help you on your weight loss and fitness journey. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think it does. And I love how you said, you know, look where it's coming from, how close to it, like drinking water has a base, but if you look at something that you're eating, it has all these additives and ingredients. So therefore you're taking those things into your body. This is my first time, so I'm a little nervous because the boss lady passed it over. So I don't know if I'm supposed to pause and be like, does anybody else have something to add?
You missed
If I could add to that, I would also say, look at the portions. So with the ingredient list, look at the portion size, because oftentimes a lot of the things that we consume, we don't normally consume what is the actual portion on the back of the package, right? Cereal is generally like a third of a cup or half a cup, and I've never put like a half a cup in a bowl.
It's like half of the bowl, and the middle is above the half of the bowl.
Or most snacks that you eat will be like 1 ounce, 2 ounce, 3 ounces, which is like barely a handful, and that's it. You're supposed to stop. That's your 120 calories, or however much the calories per portion size is, where, you know, oftentimes we open the bag, we're gonna finish that bag in one setting.
Boss lady, your thing is muted.
Okay, my bad.
Next thing I have is around 2018, I was doing a play, and at the end of the play, I've never shared this, I had a pretty scare where I thought I was actually having a heart attack or a stroke. My body was right after the rehearsal, and my body was starting to shut down, and went to the hospital and all that kind of stuff, and was there. And they were telling me, you know, I was perfectly fine. 2018 was the beginning of me going on the journey of health and relationship with liquids and foods and moods, because really I want to talk about, like, is there a cause and effect in the things that we eat literally, and when should we really eat? Because now I realize with the relationship with food is you're not supposed to eat to be greedy. You're supposed to eat to be healthy. And that brings a amount of wealth. So I wanted to know, is there also a dead end? Meaning, like, say for instance, is there a point of no return for people that wait too late in health? Even though I know people cliche say it's never too late, but I've seen plenty of people that are in our community. Dizzy know, the radio personality, was it DJ? I forgot his name, but a lot of people.
DJ Law and Mike Lord, both.
Right. They all, you know, went healthy, and it seems like as soon as they went healthy, they end up, you know, one of them passed away. I've seen that the case where sometimes is there a dangerous point when you're trying to make that U-turn back? So I know it's two different places, but if you can answer that.
First question, as two separate questions, so you can answer one, because I'd like to comment on one of those as well. So what was the first one?
Okay, cool. The first one, which is 2018, food, health, wealth, the connection.
Okay. So when Dizzy approached me about food and depression, I definitely didn't want to come up here and spew some BS. So I did a little bit of research, and unfortunately, there is not enough research to specifically say, like, unequivocally that there are certain foods that you can eat to boost your mood or boost depression. However, what I did find was that there are foods that are known to increase cognitive ability, right, and efficiency and how you think. And these are things that you've probably already seen. A lot of the research highlighted the Mediterranean diet, which is a diet generally based, it's like a plant-based diet with fish and vegetables, and very sparingly on like red meats and sweets and refined carbohydrates. The other thing with that, though, is that the studies about Mediterranean diets are observational studies versus random controlled trials, which is what most people, when they hear a study, they think of a random controlled trial. They think, okay, you have these professionals who take a group of people, maybe they're volunteers or something, and they give one group the antidote that they expect to heal whatever ailment that they have, and then they give another group a placebo, right? And then that lets them know whether or not whatever it is they're trying to build is actually working. It's hard to do that with food because you can't really disguise food to say, okay, you're eating healthy and you're eating healthy, you know. So it's usually they go and they interview people who've been on these diets, and then they ask them, you know, hey, you're 60 and you still have great skin, or you're still vital, you don't have joint pain, X, Y, and Z, you know, what is it? What have you been eating, right? So there are a number of things outside of diet that can contribute to stress for us to simply separate diet and say, hey, this is the key. But like I said, there are foods that you can eat that, or that you should include in your diet, that will help you have cognitive stability. And then there are foods that definitely diminish your cognitive ability as well, like processed carbohydrates.
That are in our community. Dizzy know, the radio personality, was it DJ? I forgot his name, but a lot of
people. DJ Law and Mike Lord. Both.
Right.
Who was that?
That ain't me.
Well, like processed carbohydrates.
That are
all my stuff is muted.
Okay.
I like they just wanted to run that back home. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Run
it.
Rewind.
That was Kela. Look, she was.
I didn't even realize. I was like, what is happening? Computer
yeah, so like processed carbohydrates, which are a big part of the Western diet, right? Every all of the things, most of the things we consume are processed carbohydrates because they're cheap to manufacture and they're even cheaper to sell. So your average person can afford them.
Can you give some because see, some people, you know, we got to speak to everybody in the room. So when you say processed carbohydrates, give some examples of what that is.
Processed
so
carbohydrates.
They can see how common that they ingest processed carbohydrates.
Bread, obviously, like white bread, even wheat bread. When you hear things like consume whole grains, they really mean consume the grain whole, right? So like if you're gonna go out and you're gonna buy farro or wild rice or even brown rice, right? You're the one who's cooking it or preparing it however, and you're allowing your body to process that entire grain versus having it already milled and processed where it's still fast digesting in your digestive tract. Generally, everything in the middle of a grocery store, right? So another simple trick to consuming healthy, which may not be the most economic for most people, is to only shop from the perimeter of the grocery store. Quite literally every grocery store in the world is set up the same way. On the outside of the grocery store, you walk in, you usually have your produce, then you go over, sometimes you have like a fresh bakery, depending on where you live, they might actually be making those things in-house with raw ingredients. Then you have your meats, your dairy, and everything else on the aisles, none of that is fresh, right? So like you go and you buy all these shelf-stable items that are known to have complications with your health. They're known to be fast digesting and typically will lead to bad health issues.
I've noticed one thing with like the different foods that I eat. I've tried to, here recently, I've started to try and cut back on like my red meats and like with pork and beef and things like that. And it really hurts my feelings because I love bacon. Like me and like we real friends. We go through it. But I've noticed that, you know, with me focusing more so on fish and chicken and turkey, that like the next day I still have energy. I'm good. Like I can still move around on with my vegetables and fruits and things like that I'm eating. But I'm upbeat. I'm in a good mood. I'm feeling good. I'm not sluggish or anything. But I've noticed like if, let's say I do have like a small piece of like a pork chop or something, you know, like I'll fix the guys and they want to eat, you know, pork chops and macaroni and cheese or like, you know, some, a vegetable medley, like with cauliflower and broccoli and carrots and stuff like that. So if I make the dinner and let's say I'll eat chicken and they eat pork chop and then I might cut like a little small piece and eat that, like I feel the difference the next day because if I've noticed since I've stopped eating red meats as often, when I do partake in it, the next day I'm definitely sluggish and I'm sitting I'm doing this number here because I'm sleepy. And I was like, what did I do yesterday? Like I went to sleep. What is wrong? It was what I ate. And that's what I've noticed just with me. Like it may be different for every person, but that's what I've noticed with me personally.
And I would like to say, when you say it's different for every person, nutrition it's complicated, right? And it is slightly different for every person. There are certain things that we all should be paying attention to. In fact, last week, they just released the dietary guidelines for Americans. That's something they do every 5 years. So like you see, like when you consider the food pyramid that they had back in the day, now they're doing My Plate, where they have a diagram of a plate and like half of it is fruits and vegetables, maybe about a third to a quarter of it is whole grains and starch, and then a quarter of it is meat. And then you have your dairy as well that you want to consume on a consistent basis. But it listen to your body. It's a good thing to try if you're on a journey to cut things out and see how you feel. You know, like you said, if you go an extended period of time, and I can say this personally, I'm mostly dairy free. I can't necessarily give up cheese because cheese substitutes, they're not there yet. But when I decided to go dairy free almost 2 years ago, I noticed a great deal of reduction in inflammation in my body, mucus retention in like my nasal passage. So that told me something, and it was enough for me to commit to. And where I live, it's not that difficult to find dairy-free products or alternatives. So, and it's fairly economical. I live in Europe, so it's not that hard to eat healthy or live on a healthy diet. And that is a challenge that most people have. We have food deserts that people live in where they don't have access to healthy foods. And because they don't have access, they don't even know, right? And we're constantly bombarded with fast food advertisements. You can see a McDonald's sign 5 miles out on the highway, so like that's what people will consume. But, just consider what it is that you're consuming and say, hey, I wonder if this is what's causing my joint pain or making me feel sluggish, and cut those things out for a while and see how you feel. There is, you can go on a reset diet, which is, and I want to, before I go on this, I do want to say the word diet refers to your eating habits regardless, right? So we usually hear it in the sense of, oh, this is a special regimen that I'm going on, that I'm gonna try, but your diet is what you're normally eating regardless. You can have a good diet, you can have a bad diet. I mean, we do put labels on them because it's fairly easy to, the Western diet is taking over the world, but it's whatever you do. So you can go on a reset diet, which is where essentially you cut out all of your processed foods, right? And you adhere to, like I said, naturally occurring foods. You adhere to leafy green vegetables and whole grains. And then once you've done that for maybe about 2 to 3 weeks, some people will go an entire month, then you one by one start adding other things in. So you can start adding pasta or start adding bread and see if that changes how you feel about your body. You can start adding sugars, see how that changes your body. Or in some cases, dairy, right? People will often cut out dairy when they do the reset diet. Right. So you can do that and see if you feel any different, because red meat is high in saturated fats, and saturated fats generally aren't good for us. And it's a little bit more taxing on your metabolism, especially if you're not an active person. Like if you're not, and when I say active, I mean like active, like working out. Oftentimes the media will push, the idea that, oh, you can just go on a brisk walk for 30 minutes a day. And that's really not helping. I mean, it is, I will say it helps someone who does absolutely nothing but sits, maybe at a desk all day. But if you're serious about changing your life through nutrition and diet and exercise, like you got to actually get out there and exercise.
So we have somebody that has a question in here. So Lance said that he noticed when he's in an environment that has less stress, he's usually able to lose like 3 to 5 pounds a week. But of course, he had to reduce the amount or portions that he consumed in his meals. What is your opinion on dietary supplements to help weight gain or muscle growth?
Yeah.
So this is also in the nutrition world. This is not a controversial issue, but the dietary supplement industry is like a multi-million-dollar industry. And you generally won't find a lot of professionals that will just bash supplements. What is known, however, is that your body as a natural, organic entity, an animal, right, that is indigenous to the planet that we live in, it's better sustained or more easily sustained with foods that come from the planet rather than something that was created in the lab. And that's not to say that there aren't scientists and pharmacists or professionals who are putting in like honest work to create something that will assist people in meeting their fitness goals or weight loss goals or their if they want to bulk up for muscle. And in most cases, it really isn't as quick a fix as you think it is, but they can be effective. However, I don't find that sustainable. Mm-hmm. I will say that I went through a supplement phase for some years and I saw results, but it's not sustainable. Like at some point, unless your career is to be a professional bodybuilder or a figure, athletic figure, then at some point you're going to hit some life situations where you're like, you know what, I can't keep this up. Right. I can't keep up in the gym. I can't continue to afford all of these supplements because they do add up. Like the ones that are effective, they're fairly expensive. So I won't knock supplements because they can be effective, but I will also say that is another thing you have to do your research on. Right. You want to find out what the reputation of the companies are. You can look at the ingredients that they're putting in. Oftentimes you do see sometimes where they have like this quote unquote proprietary blend that doesn't list exactly what's in there, but you can do your research on what are the ingredients in these supplements and then go and find the medical and the scientific studies about how they came to the conclusion to use those specific ingredients.
Right, because you do see a lot of that, especially I see it more for weight loss than I really do for, like, I mean, I see the protein powder, stuff like that, but I mostly see that stuff be advertised for weight loss. And every year is some new something that they found in the rainforest in Africa or wherever, Brazil. And they're like, hey, we found this plant, this leaf makes you lose weight. You'll lose 50 pounds in 2 days. You know what I'm saying? And then you got these random people, oh yeah, I did this, I did that, so on and so forth. And now I think the big kick right now, I don't even know the name of this company, but it seems like every third person that I know on Facebook is selling this, what is the lipo teas, and you gotta drink this tea and take these pills and do this, and you gonna drop all of this weight. And I'm just like, y'all, this sounds no different from Slim Fast, Dexatrim,
Weight Watchers,
all of that stuff that they said before. And I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm not gonna tell them it doesn't work. It's just that I think that it comes a time, look, Miss Kela said this to me earlier today. There comes a time when you make a decision that you're going to do something. And I think that people fail to see, all right, you decided to try this lipo tea, but I want to see the people who do use the lipo tea and the supplements and didn't change shit else. You didn't change the way you ate. You didn't all of a sudden don't go to the gym. Don't do nothing else but take that supplement. If you got results like that, then you might be able to talk to me. But if you say, okay, I'm gonna do lipo tea, and you went to the gym, and you took these supplements, and you changed the way that you ate, you can't prove that tea was what made you lose the weight. All those factors together, to me, is what helped you lose that weight, and the tea just happened to be there. It was the Kickstarter to spark you to do something.
And then, you hit that right on the nose, Dizzy, because oftentimes when people go on a specific diet, what ends up happening is they're reducing the amount of calories that they normally consume, and the calories are energy. A calorie is the amount of energy it takes to raise 1 gram of water 1 degree of Celsius. So it's energy. When you see calories, you should think energy. Like I said, look on the back of the package and see how many calories are in that portion size. You should be thinking, okay, I'm going to consume this. It's going to give me enough energy to do X, Y, and Z, right?
Right.
But oftentimes people, they will go on the diets and yeah, they're changing their dietary habits. And so, yes, they will likely see some loss in weight. But if once they lose that weight and they go back to their regular eating habits, then they gain it back.
Right.
So you have to consider, is what you're doing sustainable?
Let me ask this question. Oh, go ahead, Kela.
We have to remember that in capitalism, everything is for sale. So these people are only starting a business that has been done before by these bigger businesses, and they're trying to start their own brand, and that they are not scientists. These people are business people. They are taking another thing that can be capitalized on that people feed into, you know what I'm saying? When in all actuality, like you all are saying, it's done by changing your diet and exercising. The pills are just something, you know what I mean, to market, something to sell to people. It is just a product. I think we forget that the people selling them, it's us.
And another thing I want to bring, because I definitely, talking to you, thank you so much, Anthony, because it's bringing more clarity. First and foremost for me, and I'm putting it out there to see what you think about this. For me, since 2018, I have journalized my diet. And it's not a diet. I don't call it a diet. It's a lifestyle. I think the word diet is been used so much that it's abusive. Whatever you decide to do when it comes to relationship with food and liquids and anything that you drink or eat, it is a relationship. And I think that's the main thing for me, is like, it's a relationship. And as you get older, your body changes. And so Kela said something very interesting, because I kind of want to not mystify it. So, because after hearing what you said, Anthony, it's like, it's mystified. And it seemed like it's mystified, like you said, capitalists on purpose because of money and different things, because you shouldn't mystify health. You shouldn't mystify things that's going to make you better. And this is what happens. And so in me journalizing, literally, because I was starting to have dizzy spells, I was starting to feel fatigued. I was starting to have major breakouts and bumps. Like, this is all in the last 7 months after I started to change and do things. And so what I started to do was to write down, number one, I didn't eat past 9 o'clock. I stopped eating past 9 o'clock. When I wake up in the morning, I don't eat until 8 a.m. I try to train my body to be this engine, because what I realized is, when you go to sleep, your body is not going to go to sleep. If you eat at 10 and you lay down at 10:30, your body is going to stay up eating that, trying to break down that food in your body. So I know that rest, I found out, is very important. And most people that are busybodies or parents, people that kind of stay on the go, they don't get adequate rest. And that's a part of the lifestyle. And when I started to journalize, what I started to realize, you start to realize that you're your own science project. That's why I was thinking when Kela said science. I feel, and this is just me, and then you can let me know what you think, Anthony. I feel like we're all individual science projects, because we come from different ethnic backgrounds. We have different traits in our family. Like my family, every member of my family, most of them have had cancer. I'm the only one that doesn't. But I'm also the only one that's very, very active, very involved in my health. It wasn't like I was doing something far off. I've always kind of been very in that vein. So I think I've dodged the bullet, because I do believe you do have to look at your family traits. You do have to look at your family history and see what's going on. Like you said, it seems very hard to break down, but I don't think it's as hard if you individualize it, instead of like, we're all gonna go on the no meat diet, or we're all gonna do this. No, what are you gonna do? And what's wrong with you? I realized my dizzy spells, once I started to break it down, is I can't drink sweet tea anymore. I used to be able to drink sweet tea, boom, boom. And I noticed once I started breaking it down, I would start getting dizzy. I noticed that when I take vitamins or any pill without eating, I get dizzy. Some people can choke them down and not worry about eating anything. I feel like that's something, if possible, could be a cure for a lot of people that have questions, is how, like, you have a relationship with your mate, have a relationship with yourself and food and what you drink and what you eat. I walk every day around the tennis court for 5 minutes. I do my stretches. You know, I do a little 5-10 pounds. I do a little light stuff. I don't do like heavy. I'm not a weight person like that. But I believe that those little things have made me feel much, much better. Since now I'm doing really good. My skin, my complexion is doing really, really well. Come on now, you know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say on fleek. But you know, but I feel like it's been a wonderful journey for me, because I realized another thing is meat is not necessarily, and people don't hear it because I'm like Candice, honey, I love me some meat. But look,
I'm waiting for Lance's comment.
I love
Lance is coming with a comment.
I love me some meat. But at the end of the day, I went to with a friend, and this would be the last part, and then Anthony, let me see what you want to say. I went to the pet store, like, because really, like, this is such a passion for me. It's such a passion. I went to the pet store with someone, and they bought these fish, right? And I was like, I don't want no fish. You know why? Because I found out, like, fish eating fish. But I want you to catch this. Everybody catch what I'm about to tell you, because this was deep in my spirit. Come on here, prophet. Here we go. So the girl says, I said, I don't get why they eat fish. She said, well, can I be honest with you? I said, yes. She said, well, the food that we feed them has fish in it.
That's why it smells like fish.
But this is the thing. You putting fish in the food. So when you don't, because she was like, you have to feed fish, some fish each day. When you do not feed them, they're automatically not saying they're going to want to eat the fish, but they smell what they've been given.
Yeah.
So I'm saying this in a deeper sense, that I've never, ever really felt comfortable in the back of my mind. I'm like, why am I eating a cow? Like, I don't get this. Like, why am I eating meat? Like I never, but I know I want it, but I've been given it the whole time. So I stopped eating beef 15 years ago. My whole life changed. When I say everything changed, my weight, everything went perfect. So I'm just saying to everyone, it's kind of like, this could be a fun thing for you. Instead of it being tricky, instead of saying it's a diet, say, what would be your personal lifestyle? So that's it.
That is something to think about, though. But you look at Black people culturally. Let's look at our soul food. Look at, you're putting fat back and pig feed and these different foods that are causing hypertension, high blood pressure. The old folks, them are sugar pills. Why you need to take sugar pills? Like, what's going on with you? So, or grandma, when she fixed sweet potato pie, or when she fixed peach cobbler, grandma ain't measuring nothing. Where she at? Standing at the counter with the bag of sugar, pouring. So look at, and then everybody, after they done ate this big Thanksgiving dinner, you had macaroni and greens and yams and sweet potato pie and turkey and dressing and cranberry sauce. You done ate everything. And now what happened to everybody? Everybody got the itis. Everybody's sleepy. So it's like the things that we're eating, I guess it's become cultural, so normalized that, when we eat these things, it's like, okay, I'm used to it. This is what I've always eaten. So this is what I'm supposed to eat. So right. At what point in time are we going to like change the narrative for ourselves or for our own families, or, start our own type of traditions and things like that? I don't know, this, when you were talking, that's just the first thing that popped in my head. But I to Mr. Prophet, how much water are we supposed to be drinking daily? Because I've heard, the whole, you're supposed to drink 8 glasses of water a day. And then you're also, or the other one, you're supposed to drink like half your body weight in water, or you're supposed to drink like a gallon of water a day or something. So it's like, how much water are we actually supposed to be drinking a day?
Okay, so there was a few things said, and I want to try and
he's like, I want to answer all of this stuff.
I'm gonna go backwards.
I'm so sorry, Embassy. I'm sorry, Embassy Anthony.
Water. So water, it's slightly different depending on your activity level, but the general consensus is what is it, for every kilogram in body weight, which is generally why they say half of your body weight, because a kilogram is, what is it, like 2.2 something, roughly 2.2 pounds. So for every kilogram in body weight, I think it's like 30 milliliters of water, which generally comes out to be 4 quarts of water, a gallon. So that's where that comes from. Now, if you're more active, then you need more.
Yeah.
But depending on what you're doing, so that with the water.
Okay.
Soul food, right? I was watching a lecture today talking about the events that happened this week in comparison, we won't get into that. I know you already did an episode on that. But when you don't have things, you have to become resourceful, right? So I think it's important to honor what our ancestors had to do in order to survive and thrive. And they took those scraps, they took what was given to them, and they created sustenance. But they were also working like dogs, and their bodies were metabolizing and using the calories, the energy that food was providing them. So when you have a giant meal that is mostly saturated fats, which don't lead to anything really good. I mean, you need fat because it insulates our body, it cushions our organs. So to a certain degree, yes. So it's not a good idea to go on a fat-free diet. You do need fat. You just need to be mindful with your choices of fat sources. There's saturated fat, and then there's unsaturated fat. Saturated fats are generally what you find in meat products. They're solid at room temperature. And it takes our body a lot more energy to process them. And they can lead to cholesterol buildup and plaque in the arteries and cardiovascular issues. So that is generally why you see saturated fat kind of demonized across the board, but you still need some of it. You just need to, and I'm sorry, I should have looked up these tables. There's a range of depending on whether you're male or female, your age, and your activity level, how much saturated fat you should consume within a day.
If you shoot it to us, we'll put it on the post so that people can access it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And then you have unsaturated fats, which are generally from plant sources. There are some exceptions, like coconut oil is a saturated fat. It's solid at room temperature. Palm oil, avocados have a little bit of saturated fat in them. But generally, like, those are the things that your mono and polyunsaturated fats are healthier for you because they help to your body's all the processes run the way they're supposed to run, right? So, but if you're consuming those things in large amounts and then you go and sit and watch a football game, you're not using that energy. And it's the same with sugar. So like Cabana, you mentioned the sweet tea. Depending on, like, there's different levels of sweet tea. So I don't know like how high your level of sweet tea is, but
my level was basic, and I still was like a drunk. It just got bad. I couldn't take any tea after a while, but I've been drinking tea for years, and I think it just was like, nah, you ain't gonna do none of that. So sweet tea is like once a month for me. That's a balanced little treat for me, like cheesecake. It's once a month.
So simple sugars, right, or refined sugars, or we can go even further and say simple and complex carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrates are very fast digesting, and they're meant to be quick energy, right? Go ahead.
What are examples of those?
Yeah.
So simple carbohydrates are table sugar. Sugar that quite literally all it is sugar that doesn't really come with any fiber or any other nutrient density, right? So candy bars, bread, pasta, those are carbohydrates that will break down in your body fairly quickly and provide you with quick energy short term, right? That's why like you see like marathon runners, they'll take a piece of fruit with them to give them a quick boost of energy, or now they have kind of like gel packs. Or the biggest thing that we all know, right? The athletes who are endorsing all these sports drinks, right? So they're athletes. They need a quick boost of sugar when they're training because they're going to use it. You know, you go and you drink an energy drink and you finna sit down at a desk and not do anything but use your brain is not necessarily helping, right? Your complex carbohydrates are things that generally have fiber. So think vegetables, right? Leafy green vegetables, something that's going to be a little bit slower digesting and sustain you with energy that's going to take time to break down. So whole grain oatmeal, not the quick oats, like rolled oats, something that takes a little bit longer to cook. It's going to stay in your digestive tract for a little bit longer, help you stay full so you don't feel like you're hungry, you know, short term, 20 minutes, 1 hour after consuming a meal. And help you stay alert. But if you don't use that energy from the simple carbohydrates that you consume, oftentimes that's what you feel. You have like people go to lunch and they have a big lunch and they're not using that energy. So you get the, what is it? They call it the 1-2 o'clock slump, right? You at work, you're trying to stay focused, but you can't because you had a big lunch and you're not using the energy.
That's really good because right there, that's a weapon in a good way, meaning like, I'm thinking, you know, the way you said it is basically when you want to do something and you're going to do something, you should have food that gives you that energy to go. But when you're at the house, which is dinner time, you need to find something that's going to be more settled in your spirit, like gonna rest in your body. And that's why I started trying to eat dinner around 6:30, because I'm trying to give my body at least 2 hours just in case I do go to bed at 9:30, 10 o'clock. You know what I mean? So I like that. And then I like what you said before, as far as our history, you know, as far as, you know, I didn't never think about it, you know, being slaves and having to work so hard. They probably prepared food enough that would feed them to keep them and hold them. So I think that's really important. And in just any culture, every culture has their different story, but that really triggered me to think further. One of the things I want to ask you about is serotonin. I do believe in it. I do think that, you know, exercise, and if anybody doesn't know the definition, serotonin is the key hormone that stabilizes our mood, feelings of well-being and happiness. This hormone impacts your entire body. It enables the brain cells and other nervous system cells to communicate with each other. Serotonin also helps with sleeping, eating, and digestion. For me, when I started to do my study on serotonin, I really started, it was my working out, my simple 20 minutes that I do every day. I get up with this guy, his name is Bully Juice, and it's on YouTube, and I do workouts with him because he does weights.
I follow Bully Juice.
Come on, Bully Juice. And it's, never mind. Okay, so.
It's not what it sounds like.
It's not. Oh, okay. It's good. No, it's good. Bully Juice is he's a workout person. Anyway, so I get up there and I do that. And then, you know, of course, afterwards, I have my breakfast after I eat. I do my water, do whatever, and I have my breakfast afterwards. But that's another question. When people are working out or when people are being active, am I eating before to use it to work out, or am I eating after to restore, or am I doing both? Because I never thought about that until you start like really saying those things, you know?
It depends on your workout.
Okay.
And what you're doing. Like if you're burning a lot of calories via cardiovascular, and it also depends on your goal, right? If you want to end at a calorie deficit, which would help you lose weight, then you don't want to consume a large meal before you go and you work out.
That's right. Okay, cool.
Maybe have some coffee. Some coffee. One of my favorite pre-workout combinations is a double shot of espresso and a date, like the fruit date.
Okay. I thought you were talking about a real date. I was like, oh, I can do that. I'm like,
what? Because coffee by itself, like black coffee, is virtually caloryless, and it's loaded with healthy compounds and nutrients that help you stay alert, and boost your cognitive ability, right? And then the date is it 120 calories? I should do a little bit more research. It's low in calories, but it's also very nutrient dense. And then those simple sugars will also aid in giving you the energy, but not too much energy, so that you still in your workout at a calorie deficit. It takes 3,500 calories to gain or lose a pound. Oh. So when you start, and this is something I wanted to touch on when you talked about your food diaries. That is hands down, if you talk to any registered dietitian about nutrition advice, the first thing they're going to tell you to do is to start a food diary, because you have to know what it is that you're doing before you can fix it. And so
there's
then
a lot of apps that'll help you with that. There's a lot of apps that help you track that, and you just put in what you're eating and it'll tell you how many calories it was. You put in your serving size, all of that, and it will tell you what you're trending on at least the one I use. It tells me what I'm trending on a regular basis to say, hey, you are operating at a keto level, or you're not. Hey, you messing up the day. What are you doing? Kind of stuff. So it definitely holds you accountable as well.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it takes a lot of research. Like you said, be your own science project, right? You have to analyze what it is that you're doing. Oftentimes when we consume a meal or when we consume food, it's like a mindless activity, right? You grab some snacks and you trying to get work done, or you watching a show or something and you're just mindlessly eating. Or even for most of us, if you're very busy, dinner ends up being like that, breakfast ends up being like that, lunch ends up being like that, and you're not really taking into account or being mindful what it is that you're consuming, and then being able to go back and say, okay, well, what are the components of these food items? What's the nutrient value for these food items? And how is that contributing to, my fitness goals? So starting a food diary is definitely, it is the starting point. And then you can go back and like Dizzy said, there are apps that you can download, and many of them you can get the basics for free. Mm-hmm. Now, if you want like a little bit more deeper analytics, you're gonna have to pay subscription. Right. But you can get the basics of hey, this is what I'm eating, and they have databases with okay, this is the food you got. Some of them even have it where you can just scan a barcode and it'll break down all of the nutrition information for you. And then you can add those things up over the day and say, all right, well, I could cut back this, I could cut back this, and that's how I will reach my 3,500 calories generally within a week. I would say for weight loss goals, 1 to 2 pounds per week is a healthy amount of weight to lose. So when we do talk about, these pills and people talking about, I lost 10 pounds in 1 week or 2 weeks, like that, you don't know what other systems in your body that you're compromising by doing that. Mm-hmm. So definitely start with the food diary. Gotcha. Serotonin.
Somebody that has a question after you answer the serotonin question. I got 2 questions that I'm holding for people in that are watching. So go ahead, okay. Serotonin.
Serotonin. I am not a registered dietitian, so I do not have the expertise to tell you specifically about serotonin. But what I will say is it kind of goes back to what I told y'all in the beginning, which is consider what it is that you're eating and how far it's come from its naturally occurring substance, right? There are foods on this planet that if we consume them moderately and properly and unadulterated, if you will do what they're supposed to do and helping our bodies to function the way our bodies are supposed to function. And when you start adding other things, synthetic things, overages of one nutrient versus the other, that's when you start ruining your hormone levels. So that's it. Like I said, it takes a lot of work and analytics on your part to analyze what it is you're eating and then go and do the research to figure out what that does to your body and should you can still consume it, and then how certain things in combination also affect your body as well.
Gotcha. All right, so we have someone who, I think it was Lance. Lance asked a question about detoxing. So is detoxing necessary? Does it work? And if so, how often should it actually be done?
So short answer is no. And I'll pose this question. What are you detoxing? When you go on a detox, you buy this detox tea or somebody said this is what they ate to detox. What toxins are you removing from your body? Can you be specific?
Cocaine. No, I'm just playing.
Wait a minute. Wait.
Flush that.
Right?
Look, I had to break. Look, everybody was so serious, like, ooh. I'm sorry. Okay, not cocaine, but I'm just saying.
Not cocaine. Right?
It's a heavy.
So like there are nutrients, minerals, bacteria. Your gut, your digestive system has an entire biome of microorganisms that are supposed to assist in digestion. If you go on a detox diet, liquid diet, whatever, are you also then removing those microorganisms that you need to sustain your health? So I think detox is a sales gimmick.
What do you think about when they say, like, go ahead.
No, I was asking even if it's brief, because I know some people, they'll say like, oh, to detox, they'll do it for like a 3-day cleanse or something. Is that something that they should stay away from if they're, I guess, trying to get to a track to where they are actually eating healthier? So it's like, okay, I've been eating junk food, I've been eating chocolate, I've been eating, a bunch of saturated fats, and I've been eating a bunch of bread and carbs and stuff like that. Like, okay, what if I detox for like 2 or 3 days and then I start eating more vegetables, more fish, more chicken, more turkey and stuff like that? Like, is that something that they should do in preparation for that so that their body kind of has a clean slate, or is that another gimmick?
Yeah, no, I prefer that. I think when you hear the word detox, it should make you cautious of what comes after it, because to detoxify your body is unless the detox says, hey, you consume this product and these are the microorganisms you are going to remove from your body specifically without removing others, right? It's like taking medication. You have a pharmaceutical company that does all this research and they say, hey, we have put these ingredients together and it will help to remedy this ailment. But then there's always the side effects, right? So what else is it doing to your body? Very rarely will you find something that is not natural that will specifically do one thing without causing other alterations. So, and essentially it just comes down to wordplay, right? So don't use the word detox.
Okay.
If you're buying something that specifically says detox in it, like I said, I would be cautious as to what is in that, like, or what is it actually going to do? In many cases,
your body kind of like doesn't your body kind of naturally?
Yes.
Does it detox itself? Like if you have food, and I use this example, I've never done a detox. I don't think I ever will, because my thought process was always this. If you went to a restaurant, had food, and got food poisoning, there's nothing the doctors are gonna give you for food poisoning. Your body is gonna fight through that itself. Let's find that, rotten piece of shrimp and get it out. Mm-hmm. You're gonna have the sweats. You probably gonna have fever. You're gonna be having stuff coming out of both ways. To me, that's your body self-detoxing something that doesn't belong there. So but the only thing that to me that makes sense, and again, it could just be the sales gimmick, is when they tell you, okay, you have all of this built up muck in your intestines.
Right.
And they want you to take this detox to, I guess, loosen it. And then you're on the toilet for 3 days. You know what I'm saying? And so to me, it sounds like that makes sense. But at the end of the day, like they do the detox, they drop between 5 and 15 pounds. I mean, I think a little bit of anybody could drop weight if you've been on the toilet for 3 days.
But before you answer that, let me ask this, because this is one of the things that is one of the major things I want to talk about straight out of Hardee's, because it's great. I feel like it's not about detoxing, more it's about flushing. Because one of the things I do want to talk about is, how many times are you supposed to be going to have a bowel movement?
I'll be back.
Okay.
Go ahead. I got you. I know she can handle that. I know she can handle that.
I don't want to talk about boo-boo. I don't want to talk about
this is my thing. What people don't understand and they don't get is that, and you think about it in theory, and Anthony, you let me know. If you're walking around without a cord on your body, and you're putting everything in you, and I'm gonna be real descriptive, so Kela, you might want to plug that. if you're putting everything in you, all of that stuff becomes hardened. And people want to know what constipation is. They want to know what all that kind of stuff. It's stuff that's not regularly coming out. So when people talk about detox, I agree with you, Anthony. I don't think it's about detoxing. I think it is about being regular and having a system that's able to flush it out. Because when you go to the bathroom, anybody that want to be real on this live, it makes you feel relief, refreshed, because something is coming out today. And I think a lot of times people don't have this conversation, but I really feel like a lot of people get sick, they get cancer, they get all these different things, like real sickness, because they're not regular. But you keep you treat your body like a dumpster instead of a castle. You keep putting trash in there and no one's picking it up. No one's throwing it away. So now you're a trash can instead of being a castle. That's why they joking about me, because I always go to Hardee's. That's why I know a joke for me going to the bathroom. But I think that you should be regular, and I think being regular is taking that water, being regulated. Because my grandma used to do this. She used to say, baby, what you need to do, Junior, is go get some warm water and drink that and sit. And as soon as I sat down, I was like, oh, okay, great. Because it was back then I didn't know it was stimulating. The warm water was going through the body and it's stimulating and making things, excuse me, Kela, loose. So therefore, I just want to, before you went in there, because I really want to know, like, how many times should we be going to the bathroom? And is it more so that we're putting in food and we're not putting in liquid? Like, I know, girl, you about to
no, that's it. You're putting in food and you're not putting in liquid. To go back to the detox thing, in many cases, especially if it's like a liquid, right? You see detox tea or something. Typically what you're doing is you're consuming more water where you weren't. And that is helping your body to return to its natural functions.
Come on, Anthony.
Then you stop, right? You should have a bowel movement after every large meal if you have a well-balanced diet, right? So if you're consuming your liquids, and not just consuming liquids, because there are a lot of foods that you can get water from, right? Besides just water, most fruits are high in water content, vegetables add water. It is generally when you take, like, our beverages are way more than water, and in many cases to our detriment, right? So I know you mentioned the sweet tea. Tea in general, freshly brewed tea, you still have some healthy components, some nutrients in there that you can use, that your body can use. Like I said, coffee is generally calorieless and it's got a lot of healthful components to it. But when you consume things like soda and whatever is the drink of the day at Starbucks, sure, you might be getting some liquid, but you're also getting a whole bunch of other stuff that is not helping you. Like a coffee beverage, maybe you add 1 or 2 teaspoons of sugar, right? A teaspoon of sugar is 120 calories. So the more sugar you add,
the numbers. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah. And then soda, generally your soda, what is it? A 12-ounce soda is like 240 calories. Mm-hmm. What are you doing with those calories?
Right.
Like, so that's what you have to think about. So like I said, the word detox, it's for me, it's a gimmick. Usually when I see detox, what you're usually doing is something you should have been doing anyways, like consuming more liquid.
You done made me so happy.
I love that.
Because I do. Yeah.
I have another one. Have another question. Talk about the effects of alcohol on your body.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That is a good one. So alcohol is a poison. Alcohol, wow. When we talk about nutrients, so there are micronutrients and macronutrients. Macronutrients are the nutrients that provide you energy, that have calories. So that is protein, fat, carbohydrates. And then your micronutrients are, they don't provide caloric energy, but you still need them in order to sustain your bodily functions, right? So one gram of fat is 9 calories. 1 gram of carbohydrates is 4 calories, and 1 gram of protein is 4 calories. Alcohol, although it is not a macronutrient, is 7 calories per gram. And it does nothing, like there's no healthy alcohol. It has no nutrient density that aids in helping your body function. And in fact, what it usually does is inhibit the natural functions in your body.
Wow.
It slows things down. And if you consume it too much, then it can do some permanent damage. Now, there are studies that say that generally 1 serving of alcohol is good per day. I think it's 2 servings for men, 1 serving for women. And so those standard servings are like, that's a 5-ounce glass of wine, 5 ounces. Any more, and now you're doing damage, right? 1.5 ounces of hard liquor, 12 ounces of beer. So sometimes because of the fermentation process in some of those substances, that can assist with your health, but most people don't just stop at 1.
What about that red wine thing that they say, okay, so red wine is cool because it's got antioxidants in it?
Yeah, so like it's the same thing with coffee, right? Red wine has like flavonols and yes, it can aid in it has nutrient density essentially. Right? Versus you going to the club and getting a Long Island iced tea and hitting it hard. Like the calories in that 1 glass of red wine will also, like there's other nutrients that will help. So, but you stop at 1.
Nope.
1 glass of red wine. It's 5 ounces.
I've never heard of it as
that's like less than half of a Coke can. What?
Yes, that's why when you go to the restaurant, right, the glass is never filled all the way.
Because they shady capitalism.
Space in the glass, fill it up.
That's crazy.
That's something to consider. I'm not gonna like. I drink alcohol. I have a glass of wine with dinner every day. But usually it's generally just that. Every now and then I'll have more than 1, depending on like how much food I'm having, or, sometimes it might be really good. But I also have to take accountability for that, and knowing that when I do work out, or if I plan on doing something like in the morning, that may be one of the things that affect my my mood to go and work out. And when I do start working out, like my ability to really like get jump started in the gym, because I've literally poisoned my body and it's working in overdrive to clear all of those toxins.
So earlier, Cabana said, Earlier, Cabana said something about it being really cheap and easy to eat unhealthy. It's really easy. It's everywhere, so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. So my girl Denise up here says when she was on her weight loss journey, she spent a lot of money. It cost her way more to get healthy choices at the store, and the supplement cost was insane. And then lastly, a gym membership cost that isn't cheap. So what is your suggestion to do this without breaking the bank? And then on the other flip, she was like, y'all making me feel bad because I was getting ready to go get my son McDonald's for lunch. And now I'm sitting here waiting for somebody to give me some healthy alternatives so I don't take him into McDonald's. Look, we trying to make change.
But it's not cheap and it's retarded. Like, y'all got $1 menu in McDonald's and Burger King and everywhere else. But there's, how much you gonna pay for a salad? $9.
$7 to $9.
Right. Or if I want, a bottle of water versus your soda, like your fountain drinks, oh, we can get you a large for $1. Okay, well, let me get the bottle of water. That'll be $2.39. Well, what? It's water. Why can't I get that for free? Or,
it's business.
It's way more expensive than buying those little bags of chips, which used to be like 25 cents each. You can get 4 of those for $1. Are you going to be able to get a salad for that? No. Can I go get a small container of fruit for that? No. Can I go get like some an assorted amount of like fresh or like raw veggies for that? Like some broccoli or carrots or some celery sticks or something? Can I get that for? No. So it's like, y'all say we need to eat healthy, but you got all these other alternatives over here, which look way more appeasing and are way cheaper. It's like, okay.
And way more convenient and also convenient. Yes. That's the other thing. I mean, I will tell you this. I know Denise for real. I know her. And I've told Denise before and kind of actually shared with you guys as well. I've been on a weight yo-yo roller coaster my entire life. I ain't been skinny since I was 6. So that's the bottom line. I haven't been, nor at this point in my life, nor do I aspire to be, because I'm happy.
The big thighs say
Blaq. But no, one thing that I did notice, initially my thought process was it is more expensive to eat healthy, but I have found over the past few months, it's not more expensive. Really, it is hella inconvenient.
Right.
So, everybody on the show knows, I started a keto journey in October. I saw it. I was like, let's try it. Because I was this close to trying them damn teas and all that stuff. Again, another cycle from years and years ago. And I was like, nah, let me just do this keto thing. Now, it's more expensive for me in a general sense because I'm buying food for me and I'm buying food that the rest of my family is gonna, because they're not all gonna eat keto like I'm eating keto. I already know they're not. So that initial purchase of trying to separate foods was a little more expensive to me. But it's real easy to go and get 6 nuggets from Wendy's or whatever for off the $1 menu, but you actually can make your own nuggets at home. It's just we don't want to. We don't want to get the chicken breast strips, and we don't want to cut it up, and we don't want to do the egg dip and the breadcrumb. Well, not breadcrumbs, the pork rind crumbs or whatever. We don't want to do all of that. You see what I'm saying? And so that's what I found. We just don't want to do. I understand it. There's food deserts, and I get all of that. I do, but when you look at the long run, you can get hella more nuggets out of that big packet of chicken than what you paid at Wendy's.
I'd have to kind of disagree on the fact that people don't want to. Sure, there are probably people who have the time that they're like, they don't want to. But I think because the society puts so much emphasis on work and how much work you do each week and how much money you have to make in order for your family to have the home that they have and your kids to go to good schools or even go to school, have babysitting, blah, blah, blah. Like you guys have told me the price of daycare, how much that is. How much time do they really have to batter that? Like, that's a luxury, even for me. And I work for myself. Like, that is a luxury to be able to cook my meals in the way that I want to. But I take the time because I also don't have a child to take care of. Mm-hmm. But the people who have children that they have to feed, like, there is no way they are meal prepping, being able to cook everything so fresh unless you are someone who carves out that time. Like you're financially able to carve out that time to make that type of, implement that in your own home. So I do have to disagree on the want.
I went to relationship too, because the relationship to food, like now we're finding out the bigger picture. Like food is a relationship to your culture and your community. Just like Kela said, even like what Dizzy said and everybody's saying, it's just everyone is different. But the one thing I would say, because I know we've been talking, and one of the things that you can do from me as a hustler, the water thing, don't be bougie. Take it from the sink. You know what I'm saying? Like that water, no, but the water thing is a real thing. And I tell people all the time, we can get bougie when you want to, but in other countries, they have no choice and they're drinking that dirty water. Like your water, you know what I'm saying? What I'm saying, your water for real is your life source, because that's what we have inside of us. We have water all through us. And if you broke, because I know what broke is, I know what EBT is, I know what not having is, but what I do know is the reason why I look the way I do is because I don't drink alcohol unless someone is forcing me or giving it to me. And right, hand. But I don't drink alcohol. I work out. I am that person. Like, I do that 4 for 4 or whatever when needs be. But I had to get to a place, and now I'm in a better place. But what I always did was I made sure that I had that box of cereal, which get the fiber one, get the ones with the nuts and O's. I make sure I drink my water. I make sure that I have some activity, and that's just me sharing for those that are looking at this and may say, I really can't afford it. I don't have the abilities, but what you do have the ability is make sure that you have something flowing through you that is going to help relieve some of that stuff. I think it's really important. That's why I wanted to really do this about water, because I really think in our community, especially, I know so many people, I'll be like, you drinking the water today? No, I had this soda, I had this shake, I had this beer, I had this, and all these things have no fluidity. They can just drive and get and just stuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to do that. So that's just something that I wanted to share. Like, don't feel hopeless and don't feel like you don't have, because Kela said something that I thought was really important, because a lot of things is given to us as you got to work, you got to do this, you got to have that. Even with water now, I'm drinking bottled water, but they make it like, oh, you drink from the faucet? Like, no.
What I'm saying is, with the faucet thing, they are really killing communities through the faucet water.
No, I mean, I get that later on. I mean, as time has progressed, everything can be bad, everything can be great. But at the end of the day, if you ain't got no money, don't go get no milk, because milk got something in it too. Don't get some other additive because it's got something in it too. At least do this. And if not, if worse comes to worse, get a filter and put it on your sink like my daddy do and filter that water. Like, at the end of the day. Huh?
I said I thought these were for the people who had no money.
But I'm saying is, if you're like you and you just feel like, I do not want to drink from a sink, and go get a filter. Save up your money. Because at the end of the day, I'll go back to what Dizzy says. It ain't going about convenience. You can't be lazy about it. You got to figure it out. You do have to find a way and sacrifice for things that will help you, because you are your family. Then if you have kids, then they're your family. You have a husband, you have a wife, then you're your family. But you're your family first. Like, I'm single, I'm my family. So it's my responsibility to say, what do I need? Because if I can go buy some shoes, whatever time, because even broke people be going to get haircuts. Save that money and look like Wolfman Jack a little bit, and then do what you need to do. So because I want us to really, like, people to understand, like, if you're not healthy, then you're actually not wealthy. That means you're not able to live another day like you want to. You're not able to go and build your legacy. Your health is the key to what makes you free.
You won't be here long enough if you don't take care of yourself. And I feel that a lot of times sometimes people wait until a health scare comes, then all of a sudden now they're uber healthy, and it shouldn't be that way. But I think that's been kind of like the norm for a lot of people. They wait until that moment, that aha moment, or something that is interrupting their normal flow of things, and they're like, something's wrong, or the doctor's like, yo, you need to get it together, or we should be more proactive than reactive, but we're a reactive society. Right. I see that we are reactive.
Dizzy, I think that goes back to something that we didn't address when Cabana asked, like, is there an expiration date on like the bounce back? And the truth is that's a little complicated. However, the older we get, our bodies naturally, the functions, our metabolism, our muscle growth rate, our body's ability to heal itself rapidly, those things diminish. And so you can turn things around, but it takes a lot more effort and more specificity. And so I think, like, y'all are kind of on point. Like, Kela, it is society. It's society. We have societal norms that condition us to want convenience, societal norms that don't allow your average person to make a living wage so that they can go and have time, go to work, have time to spend with their families, and have time to prepare a healthy meal. But also, Dizzy, I agree with you that if you have the time and the access to natural produce, it takes more time out of your day to plan. Hey, this is, you're in the grocery store and you see things, and to kind of know, like, this is what I can make with this, I can do this with this. And so you go and you shop with intention, and you buy raw ingredients and do the preparation at home. It can be economical, but it does take a lot of planning. And I agree that a lot of us don't have that, especially if you have children. I don't have children.
I don't like,
you're right.
Like that is exactly that. And I don't like the facade that we do. I don't like to believe when people are like, oh, you can have everything. No, you cannot. You know what I mean? Like, you have to accept and acknowledge that you are telling yourself a story that you have everything, that everything is running perfectly, and that everything is running at the highest potential that it has. So that's all. I just can't subscribe to the facade.
I understand it takes a toll on you, and essentially it is an inconvenience for you to try and make these things happen. But like we said earlier, it's expensive to do this as well. And it's two sides to it. So you can pay the expense now, which is, eating healthier, trying to buy the raw, fresh fruits and veggies, and, planning out your meals. And so when you go to the store, like, okay, I need to buy fresh garlic, I need to buy fresh basil, I need to buy fresh broccoli, I need to buy fresh celery and fresh carrots, like all of these things. And after you sit there and you walking through the grocery store with a list and you marking things off like a full-on list that you had to sit down and take time to do, and buy your bottled water or buy a water filter, because like for our family, we had to buy a water filter because Texas has hard water. So the water here was like, it would turn our faucets like white from all the calcium buildup and stuff. It's like, okay, that's not good. Can't drink that. And I'm tired of buying bottled water because that shit's expensive. So buy a water filter. That shit's expensive. So it's like, you got to pick your expense on what do you want to do. So, that's the expense on the front end. let's say you don't buy the fresh fruits and veggies and buy the bottled water, and it's cheaper to buy soda and it's cheaper to buy Kool-Aid, and
Candice,
it's cheaper
can I interject for just a moment?
Yes.
I don't mean to say that you have to specifically buy fresh. Frozen is just as good.
Amen.
Yeah.
I understand.
All right, continue.
So, like I was saying, on the flip side of, if you're not buying and those things that are fresh, or those things that are that you're using to plan out your meals and things like that, that is going to essentially that's you trying to live longer. That's you trying to live a better life and a more healthy life. And that's your expense that you're paying on the front end. On the back end, let's say you're not buying those things. You're not buying the fresh fruits and veggies. You're shopping in the middle of the store and, buying, the breads and all the pastas and the sugary snacks and the sugary veggies, because it's all cheap. Not sugary veggies, but sugary snacks and stuff like that, and cereals, because it's cheaper. So on the back end, you're sitting in front of your doctor and they're like, hey, this is what your doctor bill is going to be, because you got high blood pressure, you got hypertension. These are the pills that you got to buy. These are the larger clothes that you got to buy because you didn't gain weight from eating all these sugary foods and not exercise and stuff like that. So it's like, you got to pick which expense you want to essentially pay. Are you going to pay more upfront and live and try to eat healthier and try to be healthier, or continue to eat the things that you have been eating and live the way that you have been living? And then on the back end, okay, I got this excess hospital bill that I now have to pay, or these prescriptions that I can't go pick up because I can't afford to buy them, because I done had to buy, a new wardrobe because I gained so many pounds and now I done grown out of my clothes. So, it's which side do you want to essentially pay for?
Right.
As well as other complications that might arise, right? Now you have a disability and that means you can't get this job or sustain a job that's well paying. Those are also some things to consider. It just takes education. Like I said, it's a societal conditioning where, we're bombarded with so many advertisements for convenience that we expect so many things to be convenient, especially young people these days. There are so many young people that don't understand how to prepare a meal, or don't know that certain meats come from animals, or just have like life skills in order to sustain themselves and think ahead, 10, 20, 30, 40 years. How are these dietary habits going to affect me when I'm old? Because we've all been there, right? When you're young, I literally used to think that I had superpowers and I was invincible because I never got sick. I was fit. My metabolism was doing what it was supposed to do. I didn't understand why people went to the gym, so you have that audacity of, I'm young, I can do whatever. And you develop these terrible habits that, when you realize what they're doing to your body, then it's hard to break.
Right.
That's good.
Wow. I had superpowers. I was invincible.
You are still invincible. You are still a superpower.
We all superpower.
So I've been sitting here quiet as hell, just really paying attention because I'm learning a whole lot right now. But one thing that it boils down to as well is personal discipline. A lot of people don't have the personal discipline. Like, I know I'm very undisciplined. I'm trying to get myself disciplined right now, but you have to be personally disciplined. Like two things you said earlier, Prophet. Like some people like to cut out things. Like I cut out dairy, but I'm still undisciplined because I don't read the back of the damn package and not realizing there's a lot of dairy in a lot of things you eat. Mm-hmm. You eat Cool Ranch Doritos, yeah, you got dairy. You eat certain things you're gonna eat, and you're not looking at the package. You're not being personally disciplined. Or like when it comes to meal prepping and doing things like that, you still have to have that personal discipline to even stick with it, because you can start it, but then if you don't stick with it, it's not going to help you in the long run. Sometimes you may end up shocking your body because you may have been doing it and then you just stop abruptly.
Right.
Yeah.
People understand that part too.
or even the way your body changes when you try something different. So about 2 or 3 weeks into me switching over to keto, I felt like trash. Like the first week, I was good. Going through the second week, I was good. Then week 3, I was like, man, what is wrong with me? Do I have the Rona? What is wrong with me? I couldn't focus. I was lightheaded a lot. I was a little nauseous sometimes. I was like, I better not be pregnant because that ain't happening. What the heck is going on? I knew my body. I was like, something is not right. And so, of course, got to Google. What the getting all comfy? Look at
her. She didn't look. She about to watch a television show. And what happened? What did it say?
So I Googled to find out, what's the, basically what was up. And I saw that you can get, basically it's called Keto Flu. And it's when basically you have pulled certain things out of your diet that your body is so used to getting. And it kind of goes like into a withdrawal phase.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I wasn't eating, yeah. And for those of y'all out there that know me, I couldn't eat breads. I couldn't eat any pasta. I couldn't eat any chips.
Those damn chips.
That's the hardest thing right there. Them chips, boy. I couldn't eat pizza. I mean, it was, and I couldn't, I had to get off. I was off of the sugars. All of that. My body was like, what is happening? Where is the potato chips? Where's the pasta? What are you doing? And it did it to me for about a week. And then I was good. My body was like, it was almost like its own detox. Like, like, I felt like Pookie from, I felt like Pookie. And then it's funny because I did it, I'm still on it, by the way, but I did it and I said, okay, I'm gonna take a break for Christmas so that I can have all them yummy things that Candice was talking about. the sweet potato pie and all that. So I take this break, right? And I ain't even really want the stuff. Like I would taste it, like a 2 forkfuls, and then I was like, all right, I'm good. Like I love my Aunt Leveda's potato salad, and she brings me potato salad every holiday. And I really was only able to eat maybe like 2 forkfuls out of a full bowl of potato salad, where normally I would eat that for every meal between, Christmas, Thanksgiving and Christmas or whatever. I couldn't eat the stuffing. I made stuffing. I couldn't eat it. It just wasn't appealing as appealing to me afterwards. Now, trust, I did get some chips, so I was good with my chips. I got my chips, but very limited on bread. But now I don't crave. The only thing I still crave and have a really hard time with is chips. I'm not succumbing to the craving, but I need that sometimes. And it's crazy just the change. I really realized that my body was like, wait a minute, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. You got the nerve to try to be healthy. That's what it was like. So yeah, it's we got to listen to ourselves. And for years, the doctors have been saying the same thing to everybody: portion control, read the labels, blah, blah. That's the only thing that's consistent across the board. Portion control, read the labels. I've heard the shop the outside of the store. All of that stuff is what doctors have been saying to me for years. For years. So to me, believe the science. The science tells you. It tells you what to do. And so, I mean, yeah, and definitely the water. My mom knew that I was going on this journey, and she gave me this big ass thing. I don't particularly care for just plain water. I usually don't. I drink coffee in the morning. I used to drink coffee in the morning, hit up an energy drink about 2:00, and then wine at night. I didn't like to drink water, to be perfectly honest, but this thing holds me accountable, and I kind of made a whole little thing to myself that I can't have no wine till I finish this for the day. So if I'm slacking and I don't finish this whole thing, I don't get anything at night. So I don't want that punishment. I want my 5 ounces or so.
or
5 ounces.
I like she said, my 18 ounces.
I want my 40 ounce. No, I'm just playing.
Right. This is good though.
I will say that you can, like Dizzy said, you can condition your body to, if you do something long enough, right, it becomes habit and it becomes natural, it becomes second nature. I was a vegetarian from age 16 to 25. And when I decided to start eating meat again, it tasted so foreign to me. It was weird. I had a hamburger at this restaurant I worked at. And I mean, it's a burger. Everybody loves it. And I could taste the lettuce. The tomato was popping, you know, even the cheese. But the ground beef was weird. So you can get to a point, it's not hopeless, but it does take discipline. Like Tyrone said, if you really want to commit to it, you have to commit to it. And to kind of tie everything in, you know, you got to be accountable. You got to keep your food diary. And that's for everything that you consume, right? You go to work, somebody brought donuts, you got to restrain yourself, you know, or there's a going away or a welcome somebody or whatever meeting, and there's snacks in the break room. Like, you have to restrain yourself, because especially on a ketogenic diet, like that's something, for those who don't know, a ketogenic diet is, it's a diet that aims to keep your body in a state of ketosis, which is where it burns fat as a source of energy versus carbohydrates. And that's difficult. It's not necessarily how our bodies were naturally designed to do, but you can do it. But it does take discipline, because it means that you have to keep your carbohydrate intake to a minimum. I think it's like 10 to 15%. You want your fats to be about like 75%, and that's like the good fats. Not like you're not going on some fried chicken and steak every night. But essentially, it will have your body burn fat instead of glycogen, which is what our body turns carbohydrates into as an energy source. And so, but if you go over that 10%, if you have that bag of chips, if you have some refined carbohydrates, you will knock your body out of ketosis and you won't see results. So it takes discipline. If you want to commit to it, it's a commitment, and just understand that. And if you fall back, because even myself, I'm not perfect. Like I said, I've been a dietetic technician since 2007. I earned my certified dietary manager in 2014. There are things that I know about nutrition that I know most people don't, but it doesn't make me want to follow them.
Right.
So, you know, so you gotta want it.
Got it. Kela
Mahogany.
What's your question?
I was about to ask you.
Kela had a question. We told her wait till the show because we really need to hear this answer live and direct. Health, foods, moods, boo. Come on, what is it?
So my question is, my only question of this podcast today.
Live.
For the, you know, does what you eat influence the male, you know what I mean?
Why you saying so quick?
Sorry, I didn't hear. I didn't hear.
Influence the flavor, which is
the flavor.
Okay, so
wow.
So once again, I am not a registered dietitian, and they are the ones that like learn all like the 40 properties of vitamin K and stuff like that. I'm on my way, but I don't know that I want to be a clinical dietitian. It is a known thing that certain foods do have compounds that affect your excrements. Let's take it to something platonic, right? How many of y'all eat asparagus?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When you eat asparagus, go and you urinate, you know something different about the aroma of your urine. So that is proof or you know, bona fide that yes, certain things that you eat can affect the properties of your excrement. I do not know for sure what
pineapple?
specific food.
Pineapple.
I know there are common things that are said, but I haven't done the research to get on the show.
You need to get to a control group.
What? Research?
For everyone. I volunteer as tribute.
Look, I'm just saying, first of all, I think the foods do really, honestly, I know that you said there's not really evidence of it, but I think that
I'm saying I haven't done the research to find that evidence.
You know,
there may be.
In general, foods in general, you know, I think they do affect us. We run to them when we're sad. We run to them when we're happy. We run to them when we're moody. We run to them when we're feeling sexy and horny. We run to them, period. So I do feel like certain foods, no, not certain foods, all foods have some cause and effect on us. I don't, differently as individuals, but it's like almost, you saying like, I hate when somebody say they're a vegan and they eat desserts. What point of that? You know what I'm saying? I really believe that when I taste something, I react to it. No matter, I shouldn't say this because y'all are nasty, but no matter what you put in your mouth, you're going to react. And that's just the way it is. Like there is going to be a reaction. There is going to be something that stimulates you, and some things feel real good in your mouth. And that is. And some things don't.
Look at Greg.
I'm just saying, like, it's hard not to say it like it is because it sounds crazy nasty, but in real life.
Look, don't you know who you on the show with? Don't you know who's on the show?
I'm just saying that in real life, honestly.
We're the bad kids in the class. We're the bad kids in the class.
But it is a reaction. I just wanted to make sure people want to say, like, does it affect you? Yes, it has to. And some things are addictive. If you think about why do you always want to have a strawberry or this or that, that taste, that feeling. There's something that makes you feel good. So I just believe in my own.
Make sweet.
Right. Is actually,
maybe I need to be up for Tribune too. I'm saying.
Sugar is addictive. It is not. There are several studies out there that have determined that sugar is addictive, and it's in so many of the things that we consume. Things you don't really even expect. Like French fries, right? It'll just have the tinge of added sugar enough for you to continue to crave it and to continue to consume it.
Let me sprinkle it.
Spaghetti got sugar in it too. People put sugar in spaghetti.
Most tomato sauces have added sugars, versus if you were to make your tomato sauce at home by yourself, you can control the amount of sugar. Yeah. Most people don't want a tomato sauce that is only made with tomatoes. It's a little bit acidic, right? You kind of need a little sweetness to cut the acidity. So it has its place, but when we go back to societal norms and capitalism, the people who sell us food have realized this. They've spent millions and probably even billions of dollars on studies and control groups to determine packaging and food composition, what would keep us coming back, and it works. Also, as a culinarian, I am not offended. There are only so many ways to say that, things feel good in your mouth. When
yes, chef, thank you. I was like, I just want to get careful. I just want to,
you take the time to create different textures and flavors, and that's a pleasurable experience, or you hope it's a pleasurable experience.
I'm telling you. I was about to say something else.
A lot of pleasure zones up in here. A lot of pleasure.
Okay.
All around, all the way around.
I'm saying I love to eat. So it's like, shoot.
So we are running like at 2:45. We're at 2:45. So we are going to do our roundabout. But there was one more thing I wanted to make sure that we hit on because this has been a craze lately, and I want to know what your thoughts are on it. Plant-based meat products.
Oh yeah.
What is your thought. Me personally, I've never wanted to be a vegetarian because I like meat. So, but
that's what she said.
That's what I said. But I did go try. A friend of mine who is a vegetarian got me to try like a veggie burger, some type of veggie burger, something.
Impossible Whopper?
I didn't like the Applebee's burger, but when I got the Whopper, the Impossible Whopper, I was like, I cannot tell. I couldn't tell. And I've also like used the soy crumbles to make like certain soups and things like that during Lent. So what do you think about these things? Good for us, bad for us? What's the deal?
So my professional opinion on plant-based meat alternatives is that they can be good because in many cases they lack saturated fats, right? And it's just a known thing that saturated fats lead to oxidation and inflammation. However, you, again, have to do your due diligence and find out what is actually in them, because when you take something out of something, what are you replacing that with? So while I'll admit they've come a long way. I consume meat substitutes, the Incrediburger, which did partner with Burger King to do the Whopper. You know, it's good. So you just have to watch what else is in those things as one particular product becomes popular and proves itself to be what's not economical, but it proves itself to be a cash cow. You're going to see a lot of imposters, right? Mm-hmm. And those imposters may not be as honestly produced as what came before it. So just be mindful of what's actually in it.
That was good. That's real good.
Okay. All right, cool. So roundabout to round up this show about water, foods, and moods. Let's see. Miss Candice, let's go first.
Eat to live. Because let's look at, where our parents were. They're in a different place than where we are currently. And then look at where our grandparents were. So as far as where we are right now, as far as going forward to where you're trying to be in the future, if you want to be there and you want to be able to, run around with your grandkids and be helpful, and you don't want to sit on the porch and be somebody's big mama who can't enjoy life, eat, exercise, and watch your portion sizes, and do your due diligence and trying to be disciplined in what you are putting in your mouth. I'm talking to myself included because I ain't got no discipline. I like bacon. And I love guacamole and tortilla chips, and those are my friend. Okay, I'm back. Y'all, it's still a pandemic outside, and I need everybody to watch Day 6 because apparently the left, right, the far people like way on the outside. There's a lot going on out there. So y'all watch your back, watch your front, watch your friends and the ones who claim to be, and all the extra supporters. Be aware of your surroundings at all times. Grocery store, street, driving down the road as well, because we saw somebody who got killed driving down the street for, I guess they were drag racing with somebody who had some Trump stuff on their car or something. I don't know. Y'all be safe. Wash your hands, wash your ass, wear your mask because it's still a pandemic outside. Ugh, why is that so hard? Like, wear your mask.
Mr. Tyrone, Greggory.
Hey, y'all already know what it is. Love, and push positivity. Hey, water is your life source, straight up. So make sure you're getting your amount you need. And like other than that, I gotta get off here because I gotta go get some pineapples. All right. What's going on? We're going to the grocery store.
Go on and get your
Miss
pineapple.
Kela Mahogany.
That's right. That's right. Look, it's all a game. You know what I mean? It is just all a game. Marketing.
You know come.
I mean, do not feel bad for anything that you don't have the time to do, that you are just out here trying to survive. You know what I'm saying? Nobody is doing it correctly. Nobody. So don't feel shame inside of your own hearts, okay? They just want that money. They want that bread, their head, and leave. Okay, that is what they want. So just take care of your own homes. Be as good as you can to yourself, inside your four walls, and push out all the rest of the noise. Because that's what it is noise.
Mr.
Y'all,
Kamala.
it's snowing in Texas.
What?
You see? Do you see the play? I see the play. This is just...
Come on, snow. Not
Looking outside, like it's snowing for real. Like it ain't sticking.
I don't want to snow. Well, first of all, what was what's the date that we started What You Got To Say? The first show. Remember the date?
March something.
March
what?
Something. Okay, so March something.
Okay.
I'm excited because this went perfect. Thank you, Anthony Prophet. I really enjoy every bit of it. It's been a passion, but I was a little diabolical because for me, since March something, this show in particular has done something. If I stood outside of myself and just looked at the group, changing the narrative. And the balance part of it is recognizing that this is a circle that has been continuous in the lives of us first as African Americans, in the lives of people of other cultures. But I can only speak for mine first, that this narrative has been going on, and it's connected. It's not just in cops, in politics, it's in our nutrition, it's in our schools, it's in how we dress, it's in the things that we watch, it's in the things that we read. And today, my goal, because I felt like nutrition is looked at on a very surface level, we took off the cover and showed the deeper picture, that it is a part of our narrative and how we win and how we gain our legacy. And just like, Kela said, I believe at this point in my life, like instead of me worrying about what they're shoving down my throat, I just need to take a personal look at my own family, which is me, and say, what do I want to do? How do I want to live? How can I encourage the health of my home, which is my vessel, and then where I live? So I want to say to everyone, not only is What You Got To Say important, but what you got to say is even more important, because what we're doing, you can do too, which is stop the circle and let's get back in a path and on a line that's going forward instead of backwards. Let's walk and go into different territory and change these rules. And even though it's bittersweet, and even though lives are being taken, but they've been doing it a long time in the circle. And I really feel like something is pulling it apart. And I'm excited about it because we were not having these discussions before. We weren't having this kind of platform where we're able to really tear down stereotypes. And that's what's really important to me, is most importantly, especially in the Black community, is to tear down stereotypes, that we become the right type of people, which we were in the first place anyway. We were just told differently.
Breaking all them chains.
Breaking all them chains. So that's my thing, man. I'm excited. This was I appreciate you, Anthony. I really do. This is great. This was awesome.
And last but not least, our esteemed guest who has graced our podcast today, Mr. Prophet. What would you like to lead us out with?
Well, first, I'd like to thank y'all for having me. This was fun. We should do it again.
We will.
Yes.
I think y'all know, right? Everyone brought their own perspective to the table, and for the most part, their perspective was valid. Health is a priority. Don't allow the conditioning of our society to let you believe that it's something that can be an afterthought.
Mm.
You think ahead, like you have to consider how what you're putting into your body is going to affect your ability to sustain yourself or your children's lives, you know, decades into the future. So do what you can, but it can be uncomfortable. It takes a lot of research and information and planning on your part. But again, when I came in, I said, if you can't do anything, but just consider what it is you're consuming, how far it's come from its naturally occurring substance.
That's dope.
And variety. Variety is very important. There are so many foods on this planet, especially produce, that in the Western diet, we don't even see. You know, go to the grocery store, pick out something you've never consumed before in the produce aisle, find a recipe for it. Mm-hmm. You know, and try to make that a habit. But I do thank y'all for having me.
Yeah. Woo, 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 woo. Come on here.
Again, we appreciate all of our listeners and watchers. We greatly appreciate it. Just to let you guys know, we are on 16 platforms. Please like, follow, subscribe Whatchu Got To Say on all platforms. If you parlez français, then you also follow our Whatchu Got To Say France edition as well. I'll just say I have had a very, as I said before, a very weird relationship with food throughout my entire life. I will say that I feel for like a couple of years, I was addicted to energy drinks. I was addicted. Every day, all day, I was drinking energy drinks. And I think everything is a choice. You know this bad. You've seen people die from it. You've heard all these stories, but yet we still purchase it. Not just energy drinks, all things. At some point in life, I think that we're going to everything that's ever been created is going to be able to kill us. Bottom line, somebody's going to make something go wrong, you know, or make something that's not good for us in some way, shape, or form. I will just say, be vigilant. I will say, look at what is consistent. The same stuff your doctors was telling you before about this is the same things that they're telling you now. Don't be deterred by fads, because it's very easy to. They're marketing to our ignorance. And sometimes we're falling for it. I'm also I'm a victim as well. So just rounding out, in the great words of Johnny Lawrence, strike first, strike hard, no mercy. Cobra Kai. Bye.
Pineapple.